let's focus on our view. So we need to give this view a style first before we proceed to do anything. So we're going to have style. So in our style, we're going to have background color. And our background color here is supposed to be colors.light white. So we need to import the colors from constants. And here it's supposed to be light white. That's the first thing. Next, we need to give this container a height. So as for height, we're going to go with the height from our sizes, and it has to be the height of the device. Okay, so that's the first thing. Next, we need to move on inside this view. So inside the view, we're going to have another view. So we said initially our view is a column. Okay, so whenever we create a column, whenever we create a view and we don't include flex direction in the style of a view, that means we're just going to use it as a column. Otherwise, if we include flex direction and we set the property to row, we are using it as a row. Okay, so let's go ahead and have our first component inside of this column. Okay, so our first is going to be an image. Okay, so we need to make sure that this image prop has been imported right on top. So it is not imported, so we need to do it manually. So we just need to come right here on top and just type image. Here it has to be a comma, not a full stop. Okay, so that's an image, and our image is a closed component, so we need to close it right here. Next, we need to specify the source of the data. So our data is going to come from this item that we have right here on top, and this image is going to be a network image, because in our item we have a URL to our image. So we need to add a brace, and we need to add URI, and here we need to consume our item, and from our item we're going to access image URL, and our image URL is an array, so we need to access the first item of the list. Right underneath, we need to style our image, so we need to add style. So in our style, we need to have width. Okay, so for width, we're going to have to occupy the whole width, the whole horizontal. Okay, so to do that, we just give it sizes.width, and we need to give it a height. And for the height, we're going to use sizes.height, and then we're going to divide the height by 4, like that. And we need border radius. So for the border radius, we're going to just manipulate the right side. Okay, so we're going to use a border bottom right. Okay, this radius, and we're going to give it a radius of 30. Okay, like that. So we're going to save. After saving, we need to go ahead and click on our page. So that's going to be our design. Okay, we're just going to manipulate this part. Okay, it's either we can give it a 30 or a 40, depending on how we want it to look. Okay, 30 or 40 would do, but for me, I'm just going to go with 30. If you want to give it a little bit of a notch, then you can go ahead and increase the border radius here. Okay, so we're done with our image. Next, we're going to focus on the next component. Our next component is going to be a touchable opacity. So in this touchable opacity, we're going to go ahead and have a button, a back button here, because we need to go back to our previous page. Okay, so to do that, what we're going to do, we're going to have a touchable opacity, and we have to close it here. So the spelling is wrong here. It's supposed to be touchable opacity, and we need to make sure that this touchable opacity is imported right at the top. Okay, so let's save that. In our touchable opacity, we're going to have on press. So on press, we need to go ahead and navigate back. So we've already passed our navigation here. Okay, so we're going to use this navigation to navigate back to the previous page. So we just need to mention navigation, then we're going to go back like that. So here we cannot see anything because we just have this touchable opacity. We need a component inside of the touchable opacity, right? But before we do that, we need to add a little bit of style to our touchable opacity. So let's go ahead and add the style. Okay, let's put the style down to our styles, and here we're going to call the style BackBTN. BackBTN, short for back button. So we need to copy this name, and we come to our styles right at the bottom, and then we're going to go ahead and create our style object. Okay, so for our style object, we're going to have margin left. So for margin left, we're going to give it a 12. And after that, we're going to go ahead and align whatever we're going to put. It's align item, not align content. So it's supposed to be align item, and we're going to align it to the center. After that, we're going to push it to the right, and we need to give it a 0 here. Okay, let's get rid of this. We need to give it a z index because we want it to be suspended. So we're going to give it a z index of the highest value that we can. So we're going to just give it 999, and then we're going to give it a top. So from the top, we're going to have to give it a size of sizes dot extra large. Okay, like that. And we need to position it a little bit. So to position it, we're going to use absolute because we want it to be right on top of the image. Okay, we don't want it to be here. We want it to be on top. So we have to use absolute for us to achieve that kind of design. So now that we have this style, we're going to go ahead and put something inside of our touchable opacity. So inside of our touchable opacity, we're going to put an icon. Okay, so if we are working with icons, we need to import the icons. So here we're going to use an icons, and here it's supposed to be a closed component. We need to import the icon that we're going to use, not the icon, but the font that we're going to use. So here is going to come from expo vector icons. Here is supposed to be vector icons like that. And right underneath, we go back to our icon. So we need to specify what kind of icon do you want to use. So we need to provide a name. After that, we need to just provide the name after the name prop. So here is supposed to be chevron back circle, this one. And we need to close this. Let's close this component. We want to give it a size. Our size has to be a little bit larger. So we're going to give it a 30. Right after that, we need to have the color. So for the color, we're going to use our colors from our constant, and we're going to give it a primary color, something like that. So if we save, we have our button here. Now we can go back without any problem. So we are done with this button. If you want, you can change the color to anything that you want. If it is, you can change it from primary to secondary, depending on your needs. Or you can we also have tertiary. Okay, you can put tertiary like that. So that's our first icon, our back button. So right on the other end, we're going to have another icon for sharing. Like if you want to share like the food item with other people, we're going to have another button. So we're going to utilize this style a little bit, make some few changes, and then we can achieve whatever we want to achieve. So I'm just going to copy this icon, and I'm going to paste it down below. So after pasting, I'm going to remove this function, and I'm going to put an empty function in here like that. And we need to change the style from back. We need to have another style down below. We can just call it share BTN. Okay, like that. So here it's supposed to be share BTN. So for share BTN, it's going to be similar, kind of similar. Just the positioning is going to differ. So here, instead of margin left, we're going to have margin right, and we're going to give it a 12. The center is supposed to be center, and top remains the same. Index remain the same, but we're going to give it right. To the right, we're going to give it 0 here. And let's go ahead and save. So we need to use this style here. Okay, so we have 2 buttons. So we need to change the icon, and the icon that we're going to use for our share is going to come from material community. Okay, so we need to change this from ion icons to material community. So here we need to import material community icons first, and then we can use them in here. Okay, so material community icons, and we need to change the name. So our name is going to be a share. It's going to be a share circle like that. Yeah, okay. So that's going to be our icon. So we're done with both of these buttons. Next, we're just going to go ahead and work on something. Here, we should have a button to go to the store, like which store are we in. So we're going to put that button over there, and then we can go ahead and work outside of the image.